Hi everyone, and welcome to the Spirited Women Festival. And today I am connecting in with the different archetypes that we look to discover within the Spirited Women. And we've got the archetypes of Priestess, Creatrix, and today we're going to explore a little more about Enchantress, she who unlocks love and passion. And I'm absolutely thrilled to welcome the beautiful Dawn Breslin. Dawn is a fellow Scottish woman with the amazing tones that we have in our accent. And she is the founder of Harmonize, which is coaching, philosophy, magazine, products, so much within that one word that Dawn has absolutely been able to share with so many in the world. And Dawn is really, for me, somebody who evokes a passionate woman. And knowing you over the couple of years that I have known you, and also being in Dawn's Harmonizing group, have really experienced that love, the love that you, Dawn, have for everybody in that group, the support, the care, and really seeing us at our true essence. So when I was tuning in to who evokes the essence of Enchantress, the essence of love, self-love, passion, you popped into my mind. And I would really love to explore this archetype with you, and to see how she has come forward in your life and how you have been able to move through her lessons, her initiations that she often gives us when perhaps we haven't been connected and aligned to our passion and our self-love. So if that's all right with you, we'll just get going.
Just roll with it. Yeah.
Brilliant, brilliant. So the first thing I'd love to ask you is, when did you realize the importance of self-love?
Well, self-love for me, probably that whole concept was introduced to me when I was around 26 years old. So I gave birth to my little baby girl, and kind of expected it to be this really perfect, gorgeous experience, kind of her on my hip, us eating carrots together, kind of walking bare feet on the grass. And it didn't turn out that way. And I went from being this kind of really self-assured, positive, upbeat, dynamic individual to becoming someone who I lost my center, I lost my grounding, I lost my self-belief. I went into a really negative spiral over about 9 months. So I had this colicky baby, and the affirmation, if something's not working in our lives, it begins with, I have a colicky baby and I'm not a great mum, but it moved from that to I'm not a great wife, to I'm a really fat, ugly individual, to I'm unemployable, I am useless. And over the course of a year, my whole mindset was hijacked, and I became someone, I was kind of living in this darkness and became someone unrecognizable from who I'd originally been. And I was just really, really blessed that at that time, so this was, in 1995, when the world of personal development, popular psychology, positive thinking, coaching, it was just, it wasn't even on the map. Yeah. I was really lucky. I had this kind of wacky aunt, and she said to me, "You've got an option, darling." She said, "You either go on antidepressants or you go on this little workshop." And the workshop was a Louise L. Hay You Can Heal Your Life workshop. Okay. And over the course of 2 days, I reconfigured my belief structures. I assessed my mindset. And from that place, I redesigned and basically was activated into a life of helping others move from that place of deep self-hatred, negating the self, berating the self, into really connecting with the self, becoming kind, becoming loving, and realizing that, if you do this stuff, you can feel really, really good, and you will make other people around you feel good too, which was incredible. So that's what was the catalyst for my career. But there have been other points in my life where I lost it again. I lost it again around 5-6 years ago when I set up an online business, and it didn't work out, and I got into the habit, as much as I still loved myself, what I did then is I started to work like a dog chasing a dream that at the time, I believed it was my purpose, and I believe it was, and I believe that the failure of that business was still part of my purpose. But what I did is I started to work myself so hard to a point that it was just painful. You know, there was no me. And I believed I loved myself, but my behaviors in working too hard, overworking, driving, pushing, striving, was driving my energy and ultimately my spirit into the ground. So there's been a huge relearning in a new way. This is about, the first time was about mindset management and building resilience. Second time round, it was about self-care, surrender, and letting go. So there's been two really, really prominent shifts in my life, or experiences that have been the catalysts for me to learn new ways of thinking and being in the world, and sharing that with other people to try and soften their experience of life and living.
That resonates so much. Everything from, I had my daughter in 1997, so a couple of years after you, I had my first daughter, and that same thing, thinking it's going to be this absolutely beautiful experience and losing yourself. But I also love what you said there. It was like the first cycle round the spiral. I learned this. The next, because it is, isn't it? We're constantly cycling, we're constantly spiraling, and even when you think you've got it, you then uncover another layer of being, of understanding, of connection, of alignment. And again,
I think this is just so important to underline, because I think, and people who are watching this, you're in this field, and naturally, if you're in this field, you're kind of positive, optimistic, you're looking for the signs, and, and you're moving in this trajectory of, creating a life of purpose and joy and fulfillment. And, we can delude ourselves sometimes that, and it's really difficult me even verbalizing this, on camera, but sometimes we can think, it's all going to be great. And you've got to watch with, the cloud of it's not going to be great. So what I'm trying to say here is, I often say to people, that say, oh my gosh, you've been through a lot, or, or I see people going through a lot, difficult things that are out with their control. And it's like, we didn't come here to earth for a jolly. We came here to grow. And in that, it means that, these experiences are going to be presented to us, and we're presented with as much as we can handle. And our job is to navigate the path. And it is a constant, you talk about the spiral, the growth process, the learning, the relearning, the remembering, this whole, idea of just sinking into the lessons, really. And it is a learning. I can't imagine what it'd be like to be on this journey if there was no learning. My God, it would be so painful. Because you could never reframe stuff. You could never refocus your lens. You would just get stuck. So, it's like we have, in every pain that comes our way, we have an opportunity to learn and grow and develop our way through these experiences, being as kind and tender and gentle with ourselves and those that we love as we go through, whatever it is we're going through. So I think that's really important to underline, because I think when they do come in, and I think ascension and stuff like that, stuff's coming in, it's coming in waves. And sometimes we can just, and I've been there, where I have felt absolutely downtrodden by it. But, within a few days, there's a recalibration, and then it's, what is the lesson? How can I work through this? how do I find the flow? How do I stay in the flow of life, of the river, as the waves come, as the stones appear, as the whatever, you know? And that's the gift. It's learning to just stay soft and keep moving.
Absolutely. One thing I always notice when I speak to you, Dawn, or I listen to you, because I know you do live videos and things as well, is the tingles when you speak. That for me is words of truth. Then you just know, you just resonate exactly what you're saying. And one of my questions were, how do you actually connect with self-love? What are the practices? And you see, because a lot of times people can talk about, oh, a bubble bath or go to a spa or all that sort of thing. Fine, that's relaxation is a beautiful thing. But to me, and I think like you, it's not really getting to that fulfillment. But I heard you talk about compassion. I heard you talk about self-kindness. These are they the things that you connect with self-love practices to align you back into that flow?
Thank you for that. That was good. For that wee cue. Yeah, and knowing yourself, really knowing what it is that brings you back to your center. And that means practicing or trialing loads of different stuff. So, you know, as a kid, I used to love dancing, and I now do a 5 rhythms dance practice that, oh, I can turn up and I can be exhausted, or I can be out of center. And by the end of the night, after dancing through this wave of energy, my body comes into balance. But what I think this is really important to highlight as well. And I might be teaching my granny to suck eggs here for people that are listening, but it's like life and the essence of life and this love, whether it's self-love or just love, it is there all the time. It's the waves in our mind that are taking us away from it. So I've been lucky enough, you know, to work in the world of positive thinking for, you know, how many years is it now? Actually, it's 23 years. I've been working in that field, which means that I've got some really strong mantras. I've got some really strong affirmations that, you know, it's like when I get into difficulty, I think, what do you need, Dawn? Give yourself what you need. Love yourself hard. That's not difficult for me because I've habituated it. So from a psychological perspective, I have these thoughts that bring me back. Then my behaviors and what I've learned. So that's first cycle round. I really learned that. And, you know, I do confidence building CDs, you know, big part of my my training program is all about working with that mindset. It's all about bringing people into mental alignment for confidence and for resilience and for self-esteem. But then the second part is, what do I need? What do I need? And, you know, I can walk out to the garden or I can walk through the forest. I do a lot of forest bathing. And I'll turn up in the woods and, oh, as soon as I go in, I can feel the trees, you know, I feel the, you know, on a bright day like today, it's like I go in and the shade, it's like I can feel them because I allow myself to open up enough that I'll feel them hugging me and holding me. And I feel that energy just infusing me, you know, it's almost like a big giant tea bag, you know, coming into my being and just infusing my being. And my mind might still be busy, or I might have been crying and my eyes might be sore. And, you know, and then after a few rounds of walking around the woods, and it's not about going in there for a 20-minute walk. It's sometimes I'm in there for a day. Sometimes I'll be lying in amongst the trees. And honestly, I've been there where people's dogs come and find me. And I think, you know, and I always wear colours that'll not be noticed in. But I go in there and I snuggle into nature. And when I'm in there, I am healed and held, and it recalibrates me. But I've got to stay for a while. And what I know now about productivity, creativity, intuitive flow, the flow of life, is that if I stay in there long enough, you know, and I might have to give up half a day of work or a day of work, but if I stay in there and I'm held long enough and I recalibrate, I come out and my productivity, my creativity, my intuition, my flow just comes right back. If I didn't go into the woods for that day, it could take me 3 weeks to get back to my center. So the woods are really important for me. You know, I live by the sea, so just being out in nature, just even being in my greenhouse. So I guess actually what I'm saying, a lot of the time it's nature.
Yeah, yeah.
And she
Mm.
holds me for big long periods of time. And then I'll do other things, like I'll paint and I'll create. I love creative cookery, and these things, again, they take me away from the busyness of the mind, and they take me into, it's like walking into a different room.
Yeah.
And they bring me back to me, and they bring me back to just being with me again. Because I think when you're out of self-compassion, you're out of self-love, whether that's because of a negative mindset or whether it's because of your behaviors and what you're choosing, you move away from the essence of who you are.
Yep.
You move into this story. You move into trauma, drama, whatever, or you move into exhaustion, weariness, where your energy is so low that you can't nurture or hold yourself, you know. So these are the kind of practices, and sometimes it's just going to bed really early, and you know, I just know, you know, I know what really stirs me up, what makes me feel excited and high, or nourished and nurtured and held. So it's important that you work out what that is. And for different people, it's completely different stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. I wish I could have turned the camera around so you could see yourself when you had your eyes shut and you were talking about being in nature. That was the pure essence of the Enchantress.
Yeah.
Absolutely love, adoration, filling up your cup till it's overflowing, just feeling that essence. And when you shared about going into the forest, which is also my place of recharge, she's, as far as Gaia is concerned, she's my place that calls to me often. And I know exactly like you, I know when I've not been. I know when I've not listened to that call, because the moment I step into that forest, the moment I put my feet on nature with that intent to say I'm coming home, it is like this recharge in your body. And I've found myself, and similar to you, weeping, just tears flowing from my face of a place of release. It's not even something I'm thinking about that I'm upset. It's literally just from that place of release, because I know I'm held.
So
Absolutely held.
how do we do this for other people? Because this is big and it's really powerful. But I remember a girlfriend of mine, I used to go walking with her along the Waterleaf in Edinburgh, and I just used to feel this ecstatic joy. She lived by the river, so she would do this regularly, and there were lots of people walking by, and it felt completely safe. She had a dog, you know, that was fine. And then I remember the stirring coming from me. It was like, you need to do this. I didn't want to do it where it was busy. I wanted to do it where it was quiet, because I needed to be there by myself. And I remember she's very spiritual, and I remember having this conversation with her, and I said to her, but I'm scared to go to the woods by myself. I'm really scared, you know. And I had this thought in my head, you know, what if somebody jumps out and attacks me? You know, what if you get raped or something awful? You know, women by themselves, you know, how do I get around this? And she said to me, go in, she said, and ask your angels, your guides, you know, your ancestors, spirit, ask everybody, your entourage. As soon as you enter the forest, ask them to accompany you. And I went in on the first day, and I was still kind of looking around a bit, and it's amazing how the brain, how it conditions, you know. And then the second time I went, you know, that I could really start, I didn't feel the full experience the first time because there was still a lot of fear. And then the second time and the third time, and there were people around from time to time, you know, walking their dogs. And then I kind of got this wee confidence that, you know, there are people here. They're not here all the time, but they are here. And sometimes I could slope off to places where there was just no one. And now I do it with complete trust, you know, and I get the freedom and the holding that you're talking about. I get that when I go in there. But it, you know, so I know that other people would like to do it, but it's a bit scary. So I just thought it might be useful to share how that fear came up, and how I managed to overcome it, because if you are in a big, busy public park, it's not the same.
No.
You know, even the botanical gardens, you can get a bit of it if you can weave in and out of places by yourself. But you've got to really be with it on your own, haven't you? You've got to really, it's like it's intimate.
Exactly. It's that relationship, isn't it? And I'm blessed. I've got a wood out the back of me, 2 minutes walk from my house, but I'm also 5 minutes drive from Roslin Glen, near the chapel, and that is my home. That is where I go to often, and it's so big that you can be on your own. But exactly that, and it's funny. I was speaking to a family member about women feeling unsafe. And as you said, not wanting to go to the woods themselves, not wanting to go into forests themselves because of that fear. So I love that you've shared that, Dawn, with us all, of just bringing in that entourage, bringing in that sense of security to say, do you know what? It's okay, I am safe.
And take
Because
your mobile phone. Take your mobile phone.
yeah,
Have it with you. You don't go on it, but have it.
no, but,
And I think even sometimes I used to walk with it in my hand at the beginning. So anybody that saw me, they'd see I'd have a phone in my hand, you know, and they've got alarms and all sorts of things on them now. Never had anything on mine. I just used to get my favorite sword.
yeah, I've
I
got that.
um,
Definitely.
yeah.
So the other thing I was wanting to talk about, because the Enchantress really brings us, is passion. So we can hear your passion for nature and passion for what you do. And what I would love to know is, what does it feel to you when you don't have that fuel of passion in your life? Have you experienced that before, and how do you inject it back in?
Yeah, because I lost it. There was a point where I gave up my business, walked away from everything, and had nothing, and I had no business identity I didn't know if I was going to come back into this field. Oh my God, as if. I just had no idea what I was going to do. And it's interesting because my experience was, it was a very, very still place. It was like there was just nothing there. And, you know, I was still with presence, and I found a deep peace in letting everything go. But there was no fuel. And it's really interesting you're saying this, because, you know, I've been in this very, very deep and long healing process from various traumas that happened back then. There was a lot of different things. And I would say that, you know, life became something that was very sacred, and there was a creative process that was unfolding, but I wouldn't say it was fueled by passion. As much as I love doing this stuff, it wasn't. It was coming. It was a deep sense of service. And interestingly enough, just quite recently, through a series of things that happened in my life, I started to think that real passion that built a phenomenal career, you know, that, you know, got me on stage with Wayne Dyer in the States, and got me onto television, and, you know, supported me to become an author. And there was an incredible energy that came with that, this dynamic, passionate energy. And it's part of who I am. And it's kind of thrilling. And the passion comes from, I would say, having very clear goals and focus about where you're going, and timelines to fuel the goals so that you can actually drive forward to make them happen. And as I was building my Harmonizing company, a lot of it was about healing, and it was about self-care, and it was about not striving and pushing and driving. But there was a really there was a very gentle energy about the business, but it certainly didn't have a rocket up its bum, and it does now. And the way that passion came from was from very clearly identifying what in the business, and what is it that I really want to teach, and how many people do I want to teach, and do I want to reach? How many consultants can I actually bring on board over a period of time to get my teachings out into the world over the next 24 months. Now that gives me passion, that gives me drive, that gives me timelines, goals, focus to say to people, I need you to do this, you to do this, and you to do this. When it was all organically unfolding, it was very lovely and I was very, very peaceful. But the drive and the impetus wasn't quite there. And then I would say that the part before then, when I let go of the company, there was nothing there. It was really just about being present and alive. And there's a time for all of those things.
Mm.
They're not wrong.
No.
The time where there is nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the fallow ground, the soil that looks like, you know, it's empty and there's nothing growing. Those times are so deep and profound. And then the healing phase, when you learn to embrace presence and you heal your body, you heal your mind, you give yourself that space. They're all so important, you know, the seasons of our lives. And then, you know, that kind of summer phase where the rocket up your bum, you know, comes. That's the time where, I mean, for me, I love it. I love that. I love that energy. I love champagne and excitement and gatherings and bringing people together and having money in abundance to do whatever I want. I love that. But that's not been my focus for a long time. And it's only recently that I've actually, and it's through a healing process that I've actually tipped into that place again. So interesting, the different seasons, I guess.
Exactly, and it's something that I'm discovering more, and it's actually part of the work that I'm doing within each of the archetypes, the seasons of each of the archetypes. So it's brilliant that you have connected in with that as well, because you can see that within the Enchantress. You can see the time when she has to come in, and it's all about it's all about self, it's all about filling that cup up, and that time when she's explosive, and oftentimes it can feel like too much, in your face, too much energy, too much passion for other people outside. And then you're moving into the more autumn stages of it, where you're gathering in the information, gathering in the communal, and then moving back into that place of nothingness, of letting it all go, of shedding, of that wisdom allowing to come through for the lessons and the blessings that you've had. But oftentimes we find within the archetypes of Enchantress, within women, we hear the things like Enchantress, harlot, she who lures men in to power over them. There's such negative connotations around it. I love it. I love those aspects. But why do you think there has been so much negativity around these archetypes that are pure the essence of women?
Is it a misunderstanding? Is it, you know, I mean, obviously I actually, you know, one of the big things that I think is women judging other women. Because we don't hear the guys judging us in that way, you know, whatever it is. And that judgment and non-acceptance of the multifaceted, different human beings that each of us are. You know, each of us are so wildly unique, and we can look at one woman, and because she's not like us, or she's got something that we want, we'll judge another woman. And isn't that so sad? It's so sad. But at the same time, you know, if you're watching, so I've watched some women when I was in my really deep healing phase, and I remember working with one woman in particular whose energy and passion were off the scale, and she was saying, come on, in you come, you can do this now. And quite frankly, you know, I'm sitting there going, no, I can't. So because I can't reach where you are right now. And a little bit of resentment crept in, because I actually want to reach where you are right now, but I can't. And I really want to be there, but I'm here. And that moment where we look at someone else and they're maybe where we want to be, and it's so easy to then create a whole story about that person, when actually the story is us. The story is us. We are creating it. And then, you know what I've really learned, I'm almost 50, and I just think, God, what I know now, and I just see women as so uniquely different, and we cannot try to be another. We cannot try to be another. We've got to find our own groove. There's women that I adore who are incredibly quiet and inward, and there's other women that I adore that are wild and out there. And each of them are so different, in the same way that I am, in the same way that everybody I interact with is. So I don't know. I mean, when it comes to the archetypes, I find it really difficult when I see women being jealous of other women. I find that really, really difficult. Or women talking about other women. Because what I don't get is, I don't get the fact that we're not getting the fact that we're all so different. And then we try to model, like I was just saying, there's a branding woman that I really, really love. And I was saying this morning, I said, I just so want to be like her. From a business point of view, the way she's projecting her brand image is brilliant. I love it. But actually, she's very different from me. And I am, you've recognized things in me. And I think what I do is I recognize the things in me too. And I just really love the things in me. And I'm not judging other people because they've not got those things or they've got different things. Just love what you've got in you. Nurture like wee tiny baby plants. Just nurture those things in you. Grow those things in you. And I love your idea of the spiral, because you might not be there right now, but it takes time. It takes time just to nurture and grow you, and keep consulting on the inside. Keep consulting on the inside. Stop consulting on the outside. It's all right to get like little flashlights that or kind of little guides that are attractive. It's like, that's nice and that's nice, and I like the way they do it. That come from in here. Nurture what's in here and bring it forward, because that's what we're here to do. We're here to bring our unique flavor forward, not to be a copy, not to bring other people down. The people that we're probably looking at, they're just being themselves completely. They're not copying. They're just being themselves completely. I remember seeing Louise Hay when I first started teaching. So I'd never taught before, never run a group. And my first group was with 3 people in my group. And I remember, because I'd seen Louise, I'd met Louise. And I remember thinking, I need to be like Louise Hay on day one. Just know. And now, I don't really want to be like Louise Hay. I don't want to be like Louise Hay. I want to be like Dawn Breslin. I don't want to be like that person. I want to just be like me. So it's embrace our archetypes, embrace the beauty, the uniqueness, celebrate what is within you. Find a clan, a tribe that mirror what is within you, and spend time with them, and celebrate each other, Just, and that part, I don't know I don't know what's made us, bring each other down. But I know that women can be cats, especially when we're premenstrual. There's a real cattiness, and it's like, we got to stop this. We got to rise and lift each other up, and that all sounds like cliches, but it's bloody true. Like, we've got to do this.
I mean, there's been many times I've felt that, exactly what you've said. I felt that, I wish I could be them. And I know that that's an insecurity and non-acceptance of me. Yes. And it's always an opportunity to go, what is this? What is it? How can I accept myself more? How can I love myself more? What do I need to do here to actually look at what I've got there? Because we do, and I think there's an emotional maturity there when you start to change it from an outside perspective to go, right, what's in here? Where am I hurting to project this hurt? Where am I insecure to project that?
Time. Give yourself time to grow into the fullness of who you are. You know, give yourself time. I think we're all trying to go so fast. You know, it's like, right, and sometimes too many ideas and sometimes too fast. You know, and it's like, hone it in, find your thing, build it rhythmically, you know, build your group, build your tribe, your client base, build it up rhythmically, and start to blossom in that space. But I think sometimes we think, oh, you know, that person's got X amount of followers or whatever, and I should be like them, or why can't I speak like them? Some people can speak really eloquently, and some people can write really well. I can't write as well as I can do this thing. And it's finding your expertise as well. It's finding it and working with that, and not trying to be everything. Because some people who write beautifully are really rubbish on camera, and some people just, I sit for ages and write and rewrite and write and rewrite, and it's like, oh, Dawn, you may as well just switch the camera on.
I know.
Yeah.
But isn't it funny how we want to be everything other than ourselves, other than what our strengths are, other than what we are passionate about, other than what we are very creative with, and yet that's never good enough. There's always something else that we can be better at. So we try this, we try that, we try that, and it's fine to try all different things. But when you've got something that you really excel at, that you love,
when you excel at, or you are so passionate about, or you work out, this is, you know, I do crystal healing, I do Reiki, I do coaching, I'm a therapist, I'm a dance teacher, and the time that I am in my greatest bliss, where I've done the best work with clients, is boom, it's there. It's there. It's that thing. But there's so many things come out, and we think we've got to know it all. Forget it. And it was, I remember reading, I think it was Danielle Laporte was talking, it was a quote that she put up, and it was about, you know, you're going to, how many gurus are you going to go to? How many courses are you going to do? How many books are you going to read before you actually learn to just get damn quiet, sit down and listen, journal every day, ask yourself a question. Who am I? What do I love? Essence, come forward and just start to draw it from within. Guide me, you know, morning pages, guide me, guide me, guide me. Go from within instead of all of this. And it comes from, I'm not good enough. I will never be good enough. They'll always know more than me. You know, I don't know that much. In the world, I don't know that much. I know my subject. I know confidence. I know self-esteem. I know resilience. I know self-care, and I know surrender. And I know how to create a vision and goals. That's my thing. It's that life transformation on that track. I can't do Reiki, crystal healing. You know, I can't, you know, there's masses. NLP masters, no, not my thing. I've got my area of expertise, and it's like, and I've stayed in it for 23 years. I've stayed because it feels right. It's like, and I go off into other things, they don't quite feel the same. Psychology and the psychology of personal growth and well-being is just it for me. That's it. And it's finding that. And I know it's tough for people. I know that this is hard. The honing is tough.
No, mostly because we overlook it. Because it comes so natural, we overlook it. We think, what is my thing? What is my thing? And I hear that a lot with my clients. What's my purpose? Well, I said, first of all, you're here doing it. It's to experience life as a human. Purpose, tick. But how do you want to experience it? What do you want to create with this immense power that you have? How do you want to experience life? And also being part of it, enjoying the ride. I often say we go off on these Wizard of Oz trips that are highly technicolor, full of drama, and then I see so many people beat themselves up, and I'm like, do you know, as long as you know how to click your heels and come back home, that's the power. That's the power. And once you know that, then you're never really left home anyway. It's just your mind taking you on these drama, and that's part of, we've got this mind for a reason.
It's part of being human. I love that. I loved your questions, because that, you know, that thrills me as well. The creation of a life, the juiciness that we can weave into our lives. It's just, you know, someone like you know, when you're seeing clients, you know, somebody guiding you into that map of who am I, you know, how do I want to experience this life? How can I, you know, how can I skill up, tool up to actually love it? And it's, you know, even with tidal waves, which you know and which I know, even with tidal waves, we can love it, and we can love it every day. Click your heels, come home, get the right mindset in place, understand what your needs are, how to serve yourself with compassion, kindness, get creative, take a risk, you know, and having a coach or someone to just funnel you through the process. Yeah, it's such a great thing, because so many people are living it and it's just random.
Exactly.
It doesn't need to
So
be that.
with this understanding, this archetype of Enchantress and self-love and passion and unlocking that within, what's next? What's next for Dawn? How is Enchantress moving through you at the moment? Where is she taking you?
I think, did you hear that sound in the background? That's my mobile phone, but it kind of sounded like a harp. I like that. Well, it's a harp. I'm like, here comes the answer. Yeah, I'm excited. I feel like, you know, I've built Harmonizing up. We've built a consultancy training company that we already have clients in America. We've had an inquiry this week from Brazil. You know, so I have these personal growth and wellbeing consultants that we're training. And I want that to go out as a standard system around the world. That's my vision. You know, so that anybody from a new mum who's out of balance to someone who's really, really stuck can go through our 10-step process with one of our consultants. And I want that to become, you know, a name. So that's one thing. Then I have a website with a quarterly magazine that I adore my magazine. And
That's beautiful.
You know, I'm so lucky I work with an amazing designer. So we have this gorgeous wellbeing magazine. We have products. So we're creating products and resources to really nourish and support people, you know, from intentional candles where you actually have affirmations that you repeat every day. We've got body lotions that are gorgeous, organic body lotions, shower gels that again all have affirmation to really drive people into intentional living. So we're going to create a whole range of resources on the website to support the whole harmonizing consultancy business. We're going to be doing retreats next year abroad. So I'm looking forward to, where am I? I'm at the point where my daughter's now 23. So I'm going to build this business. I'm going to pop a little rocket up the bottom of the business and build the kind of training side so that the consultancy spreads worldwide. And then on the other side, I'm going to start doing retreats abroad. And I have this vision, Nikki, and it really excites me. I want to bring together creative teachers. So everything from the well-being field, whether it be creative writing for well-being, whether it be dance for well-being, whether it be photography for well-being. I want to create like mini festivals, stroke retreats, where I'm really good friends with Lucinda Drayton, who's the singer from Bliss, and other people who are musicians. And I really see these kind of events as being introductions for people to really get onto the journey of, you know, who am I through to where am I going, but using the arts. So that's that's one of my visions, and taking people abroad and saying, right, you go for a long weekend to wherever, Ibiza, Mallorca, there might be some in the UK, but it's giving people an opportunity. I don't know do you know Skiros? Do you know the where you actually go on a holiday and you get to try lots of different things. So my vision is to create something where people can dabble with lots of different things. They're not, harmonizing will be part of it, but it's really me bringing other people together to let people creatively experience who they are and understand where they're going with life and create visions and plans and all that sort of stuff. So with my daughter being older now, I just feel like, yeah, I could start to do, and I want to work part of the time abroad. I don't want to just be based in Scotland. So I'll have my base here And so that's the vision. It's kind of that's my creative baby. And then the business is quite a serious thing. It's like, right, we're going to build that up and really support our consultants to create these sturdy businesses around the world. Yeah, and they're mixing what the consultants are doing is I seem to be attracting dance teachers, yoga teachers, therapists, coaches, consultants, all sorts of different people. And they're weaving harmonizing into their practices. So again, it's bringing the arts into psychology, consciousness, that sort of field, spirituality. That excites me. So yeah, there's next year's plans, super exciting. This year it's like, right, consolidation, rocket, boom, lift off. So yeah, let's go. And I continue on the spiral that you talk about. I think sometimes people look at others and think, oh, it's maybe plain sailing for them, but constant journey like this. And who knows, that's the intentions. But if life has other plans, then things can change, and I'm up for that now. I know not to hold on too tightly to things, because that can kill you.
Well, I've got a coach who says make a plan and then hold it lightly. Have the plan, have the goals, have the vision, because that's where the passion is ignited. But absolutely go with life. Go with your soul, go with your heart, allow it to evolve. Let things go that are no longer serving. I know myself in business, because I put so much effort in something, I was like holding on with both hands, but I knew it wasn't serving, and it was just in that spiral. And actually when I let go, something beautiful came. The Spirited Women came, Gaia Revolution came. Do you know what I mean? All these things come together. But what I've absolutely loved, obviously I spoke to you at the beginning of Harmonize and your coaching consultancy and chatting and things as well. And I've loved watching this journey. I've loved watching your journey, your baby, your love, your passion really unfold. And there has been organic growth. And I think people think organic growth is doing nothing. Ask an organic farmer. It's not about that at all. It's about allowing it to move seasonally, to move through the stages and not trying to rush it. And that's where we get stuck, isn't it? Because we're like, we want to go faster.
Yeah, I think I did the opposite this time. I think because I burned out so spectacularly, I got stuck in going slow. So I've just come through this lovely phase of, whoa, wake up, move. And it feels exciting, so I think you've got to kind of watch where you are, because we can get stuck in these patterns, and although there is this kind of seasonal, natural, organic rhythm to things unfolding, depending on what's been going on, we can get caught in the hyper, or we can get caught in the slow, and it's just a constant reevaluation, adaptation process, isn't it?
Well, it's a constant check-in, and I think those of us that actually do that on a daily basis move through. But when you're not checking in, and you're just letting life do you, or just going on without actually checking, is this what I want? Is this what I love? Is this what I'm passionate about?
And I love what you said earlier. It's like sometimes you've got to let things go. We've got to watch for stagnation. If we are not, I was just reading about my house the other day. Well, it wasn't about my house. It was about my house in my head. But I was reading and it said, if you don't get up in the morning and you look at your house and it feels like you're on holiday or you're just loving it, it's either time to move or time for something completely different. And it's like keeping the aliveness in everything, whether it's the way we're dressing, whether it's our homes, whether it's our businesses, whether it's our relationship. And certain things reach expiry dates, they reach a point where they've run their course. And even if it is a baby you've been building for 5 years, and you love your business and you love your ideas and you've spent a fortune on graphic design or whatever, sometimes it's time to just say goodbye. And out of the fallow, empty space, new beginnings will always emerge. But that's the scary part, isn't it? It's jumping into the abyss. But I don't have something else. I heard a great term. I was watching Loose Women And now, what did she call it? She was talking about, oh God, it was about someone who's in a relationship, and before they've finished the first relationship, they actually get the next relationship lined up. And it was something like a swinging monkey. It was just like going from one to the next, you know, got it? And we try to do that. We try to line up instead of stepping into the abyss and allowing what potentially could come forward. We try to plan it all out in our minds and get something that's certain in there. And I think when we really learn surrender and we learn to trust, and it's a massive thing. I was chucked into it, and I feel really blessed that I now relish empty space, the excitement of the empty space. Because what I know from my experience is that, you know, from the dirty, stinking compost of endings, new beginnings they become the fertile ground for something else to sprout and come forward. And I think with inspiration that happens. It happens, but you got to learn to be silent, you got to learn to be quiet, you got to learn to sit in the empty space and not just plug it and fill it.
Totally, and know that it is that journey, and that's the part of the Enchantress when she's left a lover. Do you know what I mean? She's left that, whether it's a relationship or whether that's her business or whatever it is, that stench of loneliness, that stench of absolute surrender, that stench of grief, of all of those process. When you are face down in the dirt and your nails are covered in it and it just feels like you can't move from it, those moments. And that's why I love to go to the forest. I love to lie on the ground and just go, do you know what? I can't get any lower, but my God, am I held in this moment? I'm just held. And those moments, just face down in it. And then and breathing it in and feeling like you are part of her. Knowing that even though on the surface, especially in wintertime, the surface looks absolutely barren, there is a whole hive of activity moving through. So even when it feels like you've nothing there, there's always that essence of creation that's moving up within us, even if we don't, our mind just doesn't know it. And that's beauty.
Blocking it out. It's blocking it out. How often is the mind going, there's nothing here, where is it? You know, panic. And it's all there. It's all just waiting when we let go. I love this dialogue. You know, we've moved into a time now where we can have these conversations around nature and the earth and you know, and that kind of wisdom of the seasons and the natural aliveness of the earth weaving into our understanding of our psychology and our consciousness and being is just such a poetic way to understand things, isn't it? You know, and we used to be talking about, you know, goals and actions and beliefs and now, you know, there's this kind of tapestry of life and nature and beauty all interwoven into our way of being. And I just really urge anybody that's watching this, I just think, make it your mission to read about this stuff, listen out for the good books, you know, and I'm talking about the navigation tools rather than the wisdom that will change your life, you know, because a lot of the wisdom is going to come from within, but learning the tools, the routines, the rituals, the mindsets, the things like that, it's like, you know, people go out and they spend on things to make them happy, and it's like, get this foundation strong and you will be happy. Invest in yourself, you know, good coach, good reading material, good resources, you know, invest in these things and get the understanding that you need to really navigate this life, you know, to navigate the journey, because the tools are there. Absolutely. So important, isn't it? It's because it's so easy to get caught up with lovely ideas, you know, oh, I like that bit and I like that bit, and this is like the foundation. If there's no foundation, it's just going to be tough. And you're just going to be like a little boat out in the ocean, you know, bobbing about the whole time, never being able to get your ground.
And the foundation is the love. It is the passion. It is these things. Without it, there's no substance there. And that any relationship, without that there, pure, unconditional love of self, of trust, of the whole thing that for me, the Enchantress, really brings about is trusting self, is loving self, is recognizing, feeding your passions, letting those fires burn through in order to create a foundation of a relationship with self, and then with business, with ourselves, with all of that.
I
So
love
that's why for me she's such an important
so
archetype.
so important. Get that bit right, and the other stuff. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know your other archetypes, but the other stuff, I just feel with life, you know, you develop this relationship to yourself. You know, you develop that strength. What you develop is strength, confidence, courage, resilience to really go out and do the other stuff
Yeah.
that, you know, that lights you up, whatever it
Yeah.
is. But yeah, it's ground, isn't it? It's real ground stuff. It's practical grounding stuff.
Yeah.
And if you're too up there, then you just stay up there. It's like
Yeah.
you need to invest in a bit of this for
Yeah.
yourself to make sure that the other parts work.
Yeah, exactly. And Enchantress to me is the embodiment. It's not the idea. It's not this kind of thing up here of what love is. It's the full on human embodiment within the woman to really step into it and go, this is yummy. The juice is of life is love, is passion. It's amazing.
It is, you know, and even from, you know, I could walk outside right now and I could just be with the day. And I sometimes talk about it, you know, when I'm doing my writing or whatever, and it's like making love to the day. Just being there in your body fully, in acceptance, in stillness. Yeah, and just being with what is and feeling it. And I love it. Devotional music, really. I've got little playlists on Spotify that I put on, and I can put that on, and I am just there, just held, just loved, and soft, and affirming a lot of the stuff that I listen to. I'm affirming to myself, you know, that I'm a child of the universe, a child of God, child that is here with a purpose. And you know, first of all, I got to look after myself, and then I just do my work, you know, do your work in the world. But yeah, it's a really gentle, soft, connecting experience. Yeah. And I never used to have it when I was younger. I never had it. I was just all go, you know. Now I've got this, it's a depth of being, and sometimes it's all I need. It's enough. It's enough. So that relationship with me, presence, love, it's just enough. It's so full. But yeah, I've been doing it for 5 years solid. So now it's time for a bit of rocket. The goals are up on the wall. It's like, right, come on, different energy now. Get out of that.
Let's go, absolutely, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, and I know that everybody watching today will absolutely see the love and that vibration that you have shared with us all today, Dawn. So thank you so much. I'm wishing you so much love and seeing all your visions materialize as they are meant to. And yeah, I can feel the rocket. She's absolutely going to move through. Exactly. But thank you again, and I'll no doubt speak to you soon, but thanks very much.
Thank you, and thanks everyone for watching and listening. Take care. Thanks, Nikki.
Bye-bye.